Hey Clashers, the new Yeti level actually brought back a strategy, which is the Mass Yeti with the Super Archer and the one Mini Warden in there as well. If you're now thinking, iTzu, why do you take a look at that? Well, actually, the rank 4 player global is exactly playing this strategy. So I thought, let's just give it a try. Let's see how good this strategy is working for me, because you can see this is exactly the army which he is running. So let's just dive into some attacks and see how well this works for me. Okay, we have our first base, which is looking like an interesting one. So what you're trying to do with this strategy is kind of like, especially with the box bases, try to push all the way from the opposite side towards the town hall and try to take it out, and then have the bats clear out the flanks. That's pretty much the idea you're going for, right? So for this one, we're having the log launcher, and we have one earthquake to open up walls even quicker. This is the entire idea behind this. Let's try to do that. First off, we need some Yetis to funnel the outside, just like that. 1, 2, and then 1, 2 over here as well. Luckily for us, we're starting things off with like a non-maxed base, so we can like slowly make sure that we're starting to learn this maybe. Headhunter in here. Then I guess I will, since the push has to be really strong, we're going to use both of those ice golems. Typically, what I would recommend for sure for you is not invest everything in the beginning. Vulnerability now, as you are. It's typically pretty good to have something to tank for the back end. That's all what I'm trying to say. Now the earthquake to open up, hopefully even more towards the town hall. Let's raise things up as we approach the clan castle. Hopefully the queen is going to join forces in the middle as well. That's looking good. And we can now add the royal gem on one of the flanks. I would say one headhunter here is needed as well to take down the defending queen. We can even use a headhunt, an invisibility spell right here to make sure the queen is going to go guaranteed down. And then we have to get that town hall as well. You can see how much power this strategy has, right? Like, this is insane how far you can get with this. But as well, we still need to get the town hall. That's our next big objective at this point. Let's try to protect that royal champion with using a phrase here as well. Town hall is going down, so that's looking really good for us. Now the big problem here might be that, well, it should not go through the town hall poison. Please, don't use the royal champion ability. They have to work around. They're doing it. Nice. Okay, now the freeze over here. Whoa, yeah, it was not too late, luckily for us. We have one more freeze for the scatter. It has to overpower this. I think now... Ooh, no, yes. Okay, perfect freeze timing. Now we can use goblins for the cleanup and stuff. Archers, obviously, as well. And that should be already it. That should be our first 3-star. Yes, it was not a non-max space, but I feel like we should start with an easier one to explain the basics. So that's really what you're looking for with those attacks. And you really have to master this, because as you can tell, if the town is not going down from your main push, it's really likely that you're finishing with a 1-star. This is kind of showing the skill with this strategy, where you have to really control and funnel your troops so they're reaching the town hall, which is always the main thing. The earthquake, as I said as well, is really to make sure that the logs don't have to shoot that many times from the log launcher to open up a wall. That's why there's one earthquake in there. You can't bring many more, because, well, that would be too many spell slots. So otherwise, great start for us for the video. Let's just move on for the next attack. Next base, next attack. This time around, we have a ring base right here with a lot of single inferno towers, which is quite nice for us. But overall, a lot of people like to run those, and especially like in the mid-tier trophy ranges, this is a really common thing. So especially like Electro Dragons, which are super common, are then getting stopped overall. So this is really good for our strategy then. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to take the side where we have the most splash damage. So since there's no multi-inferno towers, we're going to pick the side with maybe scatter shots. So we have one on the right side, one on the left, which is not really getting us anywhere. So where are the wizard towers? More towards the top left. There's 2 wizard towers, 3, and we could be even able to reach that 4th, that wizard tower. So that's going to be for sure my entry. So let's just try to do that. Let's use the wall breaks so we can get into the base just like that. Let's do some funnel yetis, then the remaining yetis in there. I will use the earthquake just to make sure the logs are going to go through all of that a bit quicker. The mini warden. And we're going to add 1 ice golem. Not too many, as I said earlier. It's all about having maybe them for the backhand, or actually, let's make sure that we're going to get into the core of the base. That's like the biggest thing. Right now, the funnel is not looking as good for us, to be honest. Let's use the warn ability right now to protect our troops we have actually going to the core. And hopefully the queen is going to change her mind and go into the middle of the base. We have witches, which is always quite annoying for you to face. But hey, king ability now. Let's hope the queen is going to redirect into the core. We can actually make her redirect, so let's just do that. So the queen should go into the core so we can rage her up and get the town hall. And as long as the town hall is going down, we are looking really good, I think, in this one. So queen is taking down the first, bidding around the town hall, then the town hall itself, which is good for us. And now we can just start with our royal gem and the bats. I really like to use the royal gem and the bats together, if that's possible, regarding possible, like if there's not too... If this splash is not too much split, you can really nicely do that. To get an even faster push so the bats can get through all of those defense a little bit quicker, which is always nice to have. We have the one wizard tower on the outside, which was on the back end, and things are looking really good for us. Let's do another phrase, and with that, we should get our next phrase star in, like, no problem. Really nice. Let's just use some more back end cleanup troops, like goblins and stuff. This is why we have them. And now we have the royal gem ability as well. And as I said, like, this strategy, the crazy thing about this is, which I was really surprised about, it's really good to push through every stage of Legends. This right now is more like mid-tier trophy range bases, but at the same time, they work so well against that because typically you're defending different strategies. Typically, people are trying to defend like those heavy-hitting troops around the mid trophy ranges, and then at the top we have a lot of multi-inferno towers, but they tend to be really far on the opposite side of the town hall because people try to split that up so queen charge not that effective. And this is exactly what this strategy is coming in, because you can dive right into all of the multi-inferno towers and still get the town hall because you have so many yetis and so much power. And with that, no one is really considering bats for a back end, and that's really your go-to or your advantage with choosing this strategy. Next attack, and now we have more like a higher legend base. This is exactly what I was talking about. We have all of the splash on this top right side, and we need to get towards the town hall. So that's what we're trying to do with pushing through the core, and then we can use one of like the royal gem, for example, on one side and the bats on the other. So let's just try exactly that. Let's start things off again, as we always do with those two funnel yetis, just like that. Then we can add the one ice golem. We can add more yetis in here, king everything just in one. Like that, just like that. The bats in there as well. The yetis are funneling nicely so far, and I think I will use the warn ability. Do I have to use the warn ability already? No, I think so far we don't have to use it just yet. I will use the earthquake right here because those are the important walls to open. And now let's just use the warn ability as we're approaching all of the damage right there. So that should be a good thing to have. At the top side, I think the wizard tower should go down due to the yeti might, so we can use the royal gem on the right side so we can take down that splash. So this is one more splash damage out of the way. So now let's add the rage here as everything is approaching to the core. We can already use one cleanup wizard, one outside funnel. The defending queen and royal gem are getting taken care of, which is nice for us. So the royal gem doesn't have to worry about that. And you can tell, like, this push is insane. Now the bats on top of the scatter at the top side. Oh, we have to freeze because those tests, like Testa, They might not look as dangerous, but they actually are. They're a really, really big threat to your bats as they shoot so quick. Like, that is the big problem with them. But we have so many spells left at this point. I mean, come on, like, take a look at that. And if you're not saying iTzu, the first two attacks, they were versus like non-max bases and stuff, not that were bases. You can see that this strategy is working better versus more current meta bases. And this is kind of the funny thing why I felt like it's kind of cool to first show that this strategy works versus lower legend bases as well. But if you're going higher up in legends and have this pretty common setup of the box base, this just works even better. So yeah, don't like get the the wrong conclusion that yes, this strategy looks maybe strong, but it's only working in low legends or something. No, that's why I really tried to first off show a like lower legend base at the beginning, and now like more classic higher legend base with like overall box setup with really common setup of having the 3 multi-inferno towers, because this is just way easier for you to get through because you have just so much tanking. And then as soon as you get through the core, this is where the raged super archers can just reach everything and are super crazy strong. And then you can just clear the flanks on both sides. One side typically with a royal champ, just at the same time as your push going through the core. And then on the other side, you're using the bats to clear out the other side as well. And always remember to use the earthquakes to soften the wall so that your log launcher is not taking as many shots to open up even the max walls, which is kind of the key. So overall, I have to say, I mean, I'm surprised how strong this Mass Yeti strategy is. I mean, there's a reason why this guy is like around the top spots in the global ranking right now. As I said, rank 4, which is super impressive. And if you want to give it a try, I would say this is As soon as you get into it, a quite easy strategy to execute, but you really have to learn, and this is like the critical thing, you really have to learn how much risk you can take and how far on the opposite side of the town hall you can go in, because if you miss that town hall with your first hero dive or like your first Yeti push, you're going to get most likely a 1-star. So this is like the most important thing to learn with this strategy. As soon as you have figured that out, you're good to go for a lot of 3-stars with this one. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you guys back tomorrow with the next one. Until then, see ya and bye bye.